The massive space station floated like a silver jewel against the dark cosmos, its gleaming metal surface reflecting the light of 3 distant suns. Inside the great chamber, beings from across the galaxy sat in their assigned seats, each representing civilizations that had existed for thousands of years. The air hummed with different breathing apparatus and translation devices as creatures of all shapes and sizes waited for the meeting to begin. Captain Jake Martinez stood at the center of the chamber, his blue uniform crisp and clean despite the long journey from Earth. Beside him, Dr. Lisa Bennett adjusted her tablet nervously, checking her notes one more time. They were the first humans ever to set foot in this place, and both felt the weight of representing their entire species. Ambassador Zethkari rose from his seat near the front. The tall, gray-skinned Altarian moved with grace, his large black eyes scanning the crowd before settling on the 2 humans. His voice carried clearly through the translation system as he began to speak. Honored members of the Galactic Council, today we consider a most unusual request. The species known as humans has applied for membership in our ancient brotherhood. What makes this remarkable is not their achievements, but the speed at which they have accomplished them. Murmurs filled the chamber. Some delegates leaned forward with interest, while others shook their heads in what seemed like disbelief. Jake could see creatures with multiple arms, beings made of what looked like living crystal, and others whose forms defied easy description. Elder Voxthran stood slowly, his crystalline body catching the light and throwing rainbow patterns across the walls. When he spoke, his voice sounded like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. Ambassador Zethkari, please remind the Council of the standard timeline for species development. How long does it typically take for a civilization to progress from basic space travel to faster-than-light capability? Zethkari consulted his device. The average time span is approximately 50,000 Earth years, Elder. Some species have required as long as 100,000 years to achieve interstellar travel. A new voice joined the conversation. Commander Calandria, whose reptilian features were marked by bright blue scales, hissed softly before speaking. And how long did this human species require for the same advancement? Dr. Bennett stepped forward, her voice steady despite her racing heart. Respected members, humanity achieved faster-than-light travel just 3 years ago. Our species progressed from our first powered flight to interstellar capability in less than 300 years. The chamber erupted in noise. Delegates spoke rapidly in their native languages, their translation devices struggling to keep up. Some beings stood and pointed at the humans, while others simply stared in what appeared to be shock. Elder Voxthran raised one crystalline arm and silence slowly returned. Dr. Bennett, surely there has been some mistake in your calculations. No species has ever developed so rapidly. Lisa shook her head. There is no mistake, Elder. I have brought complete records of our technological development. We began with simple tools made of stone and metal. We learned to harness fire, then electricity, then atomic energy. Each step led to faster progress than the step before. Jake added, "What Dr. Bennett says is true. My own great-grandfather was born before humans had even traveled to our own moon. Now I command a ship that can cross between star systems in days." A new delegate spoke up. This being appeared to be made entirely of flowing water held in a transparent container. Its voice bubbled and gurgled through the translator. Perhaps these humans received assistance from another advanced species. Such rapid development cannot occur naturally. That is exactly what we thought, Zethkari replied. When our survey ships first detected Earth, we expected to find another primitive world. Instead, we discovered a species that had already begun exploring their local star system. We observed them for several years before making contact, and I can confirm that their development was entirely independent. Dr. Bennett activated her tablet, and holographic images appeared above the chamber floor. The display showed human cities, spacecraft, and technological achievements. These images document our progress over the past century. You can see the rapid advancement in our architecture, transportation, and space technology. Elder Voxthran studied the images carefully. His crystalline features seemed to shift as he processed what he was seeing. Dr. Bennett, Captain Martinez, your species' rapid development is indeed unprecedented. However, this very speed concerns many council members. How can we be certain that humans are ready for membership in our galactic community? Jake and Lisa exchanged glances. They had expected this question and had prepared for it during their long journey to the station. Elder Voxthrin, Jake began, we understand your concerns. Humanity may be young compared to other council species, but we have proven our ability to adapt and overcome challenges. We have survived wars, natural disasters, and resource shortages on our home world. Each challenge has made us stronger and more united. Dr. Bennett nodded. We believe that our rapid development is not a weakness but a strength. Humans have always been quick to learn and adapt. When we encounter new situations, we find ways to solve problems and improve our circumstances. Commander Calandria leaned forward, her blue scales glinting in the light. Words are easy, humans. Proving your adaptability is another matter entirely. Elder Voxthran seemed to consider this for a long moment. The chamber remained silent as the ancient being processed the situation. Finally, he spoke again. The Council has decided to offer humanity a probationary membership. You will be given a series of challenges designed to test your species' ability to adapt to different environments and situations. These tests typically require several centuries to complete. Dr. Bennett felt her heart sink. Centuries meant that neither she nor anyone she knew would live to see the results. Jake stepped forward. Elder, what exactly would these challenges involve? You would be required to establish successful colonies on worlds with various environmental conditions. Each colony must become self-sustaining and support a minimum population. The worlds we have selected represent the most challenging environments in known space. Zethkari added, Captain Martinez, I must warn you that no species has ever completed these challenges in less than 500 years. Most require much longer. Jake looked at Dr. Bennett, then back at the assembled delegates. Despite the daunting timeline, he could see no other path forward for humanity. On behalf of my species, I accept your challenge, Jake announced. Humanity will prove that we deserve a place among the stars. Elder Voxthran's crystalline form seemed to pulse with light. Very well. Your first assignment will be to establish a colony on Kepler 438b. You have 1 Earth year to create a settlement that can support 10,000 inhabitants. Commander Ryan Blake will lead this mission. As the council session ended and delegates began to file out, Jake and Lisa remained standing in the center of the great chamber. They had achieved first contact and gained a chance for membership, but the real test was just beginning. The transport ship shuddered as it entered the atmosphere of Kepler 438b, and Commander Ryan Blake gripped his seat handles tightly. Through the viewport, he could see a world of red soil and gray skies, with electrical storms dancing across the horizon like angry spirits. The planet stretched below them, hostile and unwelcoming, but Ryan felt excitement rather than fear. Gravity reading is holding steady at 2.3 times Earth normal, called out pilot Jenny Cruz from the cockpit. Atmospheric composition shows high iron content and trace amounts of sulfur dioxide. Not exactly a vacation spot. Dr. Amy Foster looked up from her scientific equipment, her dark hair pulled back in a practical ponytail. The good news is that the atmosphere is breathable with minimal filtration. The bad news is that the iron particles will corrode most of our standard equipment within weeks. Engineer Carlos Rivera laughed from his seat near the back. Good thing I brought my special tools then. I've been working on corrosion-resistant materials for years. Time to see if my theories work in practice. The ship touched down on a flat plain surrounded by rocky hills. As the engines powered down, Ryan could hear the constant rumble of thunder in the distance. The electrical storms never seemed to stop, on this world, which the crew had already nicknamed Iron World. Remember everyone, Ryan announced as they prepared to disembark. We have exactly 1 year to build a city for 10,000 people. The Galactic Council expects us to fail, so let's prove them wrong. The first few days were challenging. The heavy gravity made every movement more difficult, and simple tasks like carrying equipment required twice the usual effort. Several crew members complained of headaches and fatigue as their bodies struggled to adapt to the new environment. But humans had always been remarkably adaptable, and within a week, something remarkable began to happen. The crew members started moving more easily in the heavy gravity. Their muscles were growing stronger and their bones were becoming denser. Dr. Foster took medical readings and discovered that human physiology was changing faster than should have been possible. "This is incredible," she told Ryan as she reviewed her data. "The human body is responding to the high-gravity environment in ways I've never seen before. Our bone density is increasing by measurable amounts every day." Carlos had been busy setting up his workshop in a temporary shelter. The electrical storms that constantly swept across the planet had initially seemed like a major obstacle, but the creative engineer saw opportunity instead of problems. "Ryan, come look at this," Carlos called excitedly. He had constructed a metal framework that reached high into the sky, with cables and equipment attached at various points. These storms generate massive amounts of electrical energy. Instead of hiding from them, we can harvest their power. The device worked perfectly. As the next storm approached, Carlos's energy collectors began gathering electricity from the air. Soon they had more power than their small settlement could use. Meanwhile, Dr. Foster was making discoveries about the planet's unique ecosystem. The high iron content in the soil that made it so corrosive also made it incredibly rich in minerals. Plants that grew here were stronger and more nutritious than anything found on Earth. "The iron-rich environment is actually beneficial," she explained to the growing group of colonists who had arrived on the second transport ship. "The plants here absorb metals and become natural supplements. Eating them is making our people healthier and stronger." Construction of New Denver, as they had named their settlement, proceeded at an amazing pace. The combination of the colonists' increasing physical strength and Carlos's innovative power systems allowed them to build faster than anyone had expected. The buildings themselves were marvels of adaptation. Carlos had discovered that the iron-rich soil could be processed into an incredibly strong metal alloy. The constant electrical storms provided unlimited clean energy, and the high-gravity environment was actually making the colonists stronger and healthier than baseline humans. Observer Calandria watched all of this from her monitoring station, with growing disbelief. The reptilian scientist had been assigned by the Galactic Council to document humanity's inevitable failure on Iron World. Her own species had required 12,000 years to successfully colonize a high-gravity world, and they had never achieved the level of adaptation she was witnessing. "This should not be possible," she muttered as she reviewed her daily reports. "Humans are showing physical adaptation in weeks that should take centuries to develop." By the 6th month, New Denver was a thriving city of gleaming metal buildings, powered by storm energy. The human colonists moved through the heavy gravity with ease, their enhanced physiology allowing them to accomplish tasks that would have been impossible for their Earth-born ancestors. Dr. Foster made her most important discovery during this time. While studying human DNA samples from the colonists, she found something that changed everything they thought they knew about human evolution. "Ryan, you need to see this," she said, calling him to her laboratory. On her computer screen were complex genetic diagrams that showed human DNA structure. "Look at these sequences here. Scientists on Earth always called them junk DNA because they seemed to serve no purpose." Ryan studied the colorful patterns on the screen. "What about them? They're not junk at all. They're adaptive sequences that activate under environmental pressure. When humans encounter extreme conditions, these genetic switches turn on and allow rapid physiological changes. This is why we're adapting so quickly to Iron World." The implications were staggering. Humans possessed a genetic flexibility that allowed them to evolve in real time when faced with new environments. This explained their rapid technological development and their ability to thrive in conditions that challenged other species. Children born on Iron World were already showing enhanced capabilities. They were stronger, faster, and more resistant to the planet's harsh conditions than their parents. Some could even sense approaching electrical storms hours before they arrived. As the one-year deadline approached, New Denver had grown beyond all expectations. The city now housed over 15,000 people, far exceeding the council's requirements. The colonists had not only survived on Iron World, but had thrived in ways that seemed impossible. Carlos had developed new technologies based on the planet's unique properties. His electromagnetic shields could protect against any storm, and his iron processing techniques created materials stronger than anything in previous human technology. Dr. Foster's research had revealed the secret of human adaptability, providing scientific proof of what the colonists had experienced firsthand. Humans could evolve and adapt at a speed that defied all known biological principles. When observer Kylandira submitted her final report to the Galactic Council, she struggled to find words that would convey what she had witnessed. A species that should have taken centuries to adapt to Ironworld had not only succeeded in 1 year but had created a colony that surpassed the achievements of civilizations with thousands of years of experience. The humans have exceeded all expectations, she wrote in her report. Their rate of adaptation and technological innovation suggests capabilities that we may have seriously underestimated. As Ryan stood on the observation deck of New Denver's Central Tower, watching another spectacular electrical storm dance across the red sky, he felt pride in what humanity had accomplished. They had passed their first test, but he suspected that the Galactic Council would not be satisfied with just one success. The storms that had once seemed so threatening now provided endless clean energy for their city. The heavy gravity that should have crippled them had instead made them stronger. The hostile environment that was meant to defeat them had become their greatest asset. Ironworld had become humanity's first stepping stone to the stars, and Ryan knew that this was just the beginning of their journey. The emergency session of the Galactic Council convened just 3 days after observer Kylandira submitted her report about humanity's success on Ironworld. Elder Voxthran's crystalline form pulsed with agitated light as he addressed the assembled delegates from across the galaxy. Fellow council members, we face an unprecedented situation. The human species has not only completed our first challenge, but has exceeded all expectations in a manner that defies our understanding of biological development. Commander Kylandira stood at her reporting station, her blue scales reflecting the chamber's lighting as she spoke. Respected Elder, the humans established a colony of over 15,000 inhabitants in less than 12 months. They have developed technologies that surpass some of our own capabilities and show physical adaptations that should have taken millennia to achieve. Delegate Morpheus of the Tentacled Collective raised several of his appendages in what appeared to be distress. This rapid development is disturbing. If humans continue at this pace, they could surpass our technological achievements within decades, rather than centuries. Elder Voxthran considered this carefully. His ancient mind processed possibilities that troubled him deeply. Perhaps our single-world test was insufficient to properly evaluate human limitations. I propose we present them, with multiple simultaneous challenges that will surely reveal their true capabilities. The council voted quickly and unanimously. Within hours, Captain Jake Martinez received new orders that made his previous mission seem simple in comparison. 5 worlds simultaneously? Jake read the message aloud to Dr. Lisa Bennett in their temporary quarters aboard the council station. They want us to establish colonies on 5 different hostile worlds at the same time? Lisa studied the planetary data that accompanied the orders. Each world presented unique and seemingly impossible challenges. Aquatica Prime is completely covered by oceans with crushing deep water pressure. Scorius has surface temperatures reaching 180 degrees. Glacialis is a frozen moon where temperatures drop to -200 degrees. Jake continued, reading. Adam's Edge has radiation levels that would kill most known species within hours. And Tempest is a gas giant moon with constant hurricane-force winds and unstable atmospheric pressure. Despite the daunting nature of these challenges, Jake felt excitement rather than fear. Humanity had surprised everyone with Ironworld, and he believed they could do it again. Within weeks, 5 expeditions launched from Earth toward their assigned worlds. Each team was carefully selected for their specific environment and led by experts in relevant fields. Captain Nina Walsh guided her team toward Aquatica Prime, the ocean world. Marine biologist Dr. Tony Kim had spent months preparing for underwater colonization, developing new breathing technologies and pressure-resistant equipment. The key is not fighting the ocean, but learning to live with it. Tony explained to his team as their ship approached the water-covered planet. "We need to think like the sea creatures that already call this place home." Their first underwater city took shape quickly. Using materials that could withstand the crushing pressure, they built dome-shaped structures on the ocean floor. The breakthrough came when Tony discovered that humans could actually adapt to breathing underwater for extended periods using modified equipment that worked with their lung capacity rather than against it. Meanwhile, on the desert world Scorius, botanist Dr. Helen Park faced the opposite extreme. The planet's surface was a furnace that would kill most life forms within minutes, but Helen saw opportunity in the harsh conditions. "Heat this intense can be used as an energy source," she told her team as they established their underground base. "And these mineral deposits contain everything we need for advanced hydroponic farming." Her underground cities flourished. Using geothermal energy from the planet's core, Helen's team created vast growing chambers that produced more food per square meter than traditional farming on Earth. The extreme heat that should have been their enemy became their greatest asset. On the ice moon Glacialis, Dr. Steve Hughes faced his own unique challenges. The cold was so intense that standard equipment failed within hours, but Steve's background in cryogenic technology prepared him for these conditions. "Cold preserves everything," he reminded his team as they carved their thermal cities into the moon's ice. "We're not fighting the environment, we're using it to our advantage." The geothermal energy they tapped from beneath the ice provided unlimited power, while the cold environment allowed them to preserve food and materials indefinitely. Human metabolism actually slowed in the cold, reducing their caloric needs and making survival easier. The most impressive achievement occurred on Adam's Edge, where physicist Dr. Kate Moore led her team onto a world bathed in deadly radiation. Most species would have been killed within hours, but Kate had developed revolutionary radiation absorption technology. "Radiation is just another form of energy," she explained as her team set up their protective equipment. "Instead of blocking it, we're going to convert it into usable power." The technology worked beyond all expectations. Not only did the colonists survive the radiation, but they thrived as their equipment converted the harmful energy into clean electricity. Children born on Adam's Edge showed natural resistance to radiation that amazed even Kate. Perhaps the most spectacular success came on Tempest, the gas giant moon, where atmospheric engineer Dr. Ben Clark faced constant hurricane-force winds and pressure changes that would crush most structures. "Wind is movement and movement is energy," Ben told his team as they anchored their floating city platform. "These storms aren't obstacles, they're the most powerful generators in the known galaxy." His floating cities rode the constant storms like ships on an ocean of air. The wind power they generated was immense, and the pressure suits his team developed actually enhanced human strength by using the atmospheric pressure differentials. Each colony succeeded far beyond the Council's timeline. What should have taken decades was accomplished in months. The human colonists on all 5 worlds not only survived, but developed new technologies and capabilities that surpassed their starting point. Observer Kilandira found herself assigned to monitor all 5 colonies simultaneously, and her reports to the Council became increasingly urgent. "The humans on Aquatica Prime have developed underwater breathing capabilities that allow them to live permanently beneath the ocean," she reported. "Their children are showing enhanced lung capacity and pressure tolerance. On Scorius, they have created underground cities that could support millions of inhabitants using desert heat as an energy source. Their agricultural output exceeds that of most garden worlds. Glacialis colonists have developed cold adaptation technologies that allow them to survive in environments that would kill other species instantly. Their thermal efficiency is remarkable. The Adam's Edge colony is actually thriving in radiation levels that would sterilize most worlds. They have converted a death world into a power generation facility." And Tempest shows the most remarkable achievement of all. The humans have learned to harness storm energy on a scale that produces more power than some star-based civilizations generate. Elder Voxthrin read these reports with growing alarm. Each success demonstrated capabilities that challenged everything the Council understood about biological limitations and technological development. "How long did our projections suggest these 5 colonies would require for completion?" he asked during an emergency council session. 200 years minimum, replied Delegate Morpheus. Some of our models suggested as long as 500 years for all 5 worlds to achieve stable populations. And how long have the humans required? Keelandira consulted her data. All 5 colonies achieved their population targets within 18 months. 3 of them exceeded the requirements by significant margins. The chamber fell silent as council members processed this information. A species that had only achieved faster than light travel 3 years earlier was now successfully colonizing worlds that had been considered impossible for most galactic civilizations. Dr. Lisa Bennett's voice echoed through the chamber as she delivered humanity's latest report. Respected council members, we are pleased to announce the successful completion of all 5 colony challenges. Each world now supports sustainable populations and has developed unique technologies based on local environmental conditions. She paused, then added words that sent shockwaves through the assembled delegates. We are ready for additional challenges whenever the council wishes to provide them. Elder Voxthrin's crystalline form dimmed as he realized that humanity's rapid development was not slowing down but accelerating. Each challenge was making them stronger and more capable, rather than revealing their limitations. The Galactic Council faced a situation they had never encountered before, and many delegates were beginning to question whether humanity represented an opportunity or a threat to the established order of galactic civilization. The Great Council Chamber had never seen such heated debate in its 1,000-year history. Delegates who had maintained peaceful relations for centuries now argued with passionate intensity as reports of human achievements continued to arrive, daily from across the galaxy. Ambassador Velthari of the Zephyrian Collective stood at her speaking platform, her translucent wings fluttering with agitation. Her species had remained virtually unchanged for 80,000 years, and the rapid human development challenged everything they believed about natural evolution. Fellow council members, we can no longer ignore the implications of human advancement, she declared, her voice carrying the weight of ancient authority. In less than 2 years, they have achieved what most of our civilizations required millennia to accomplish. If this rate continues, humans will surpass every species in this chamber within a single generation. Elder Voxthrin's crystalline form pulsed with troubled light as he processed the latest intelligence reports. Ambassador Velthari raises concerns that we cannot dismiss. Our observers report that human colonies are now sharing technological advances at unprecedented speed. Each world they colonize contributes new innovations that benefit all their settlements. Dr. Lisa Bennett stood quietly in the designated human section of the chamber, watching the debate with growing concern. She had been granted permanent residence on the council station as Earth's representative, but the hostile atmosphere was becoming more apparent each day. General Thexmore of the Soros Empire rose from his seat, his massive reptilian form casting shadows across nearby delegates. His species had dominated military affairs in this sector for 10,000 years, and he viewed human advancement as a direct threat to established power structures. Honored Council, I propose immediate action to contain human expansion, he growled through his translator. Their rapid development suggests capabilities that could destabilize the entire galactic order. We should consider military intervention before they become too powerful to control. A wave of shocked murmurs rippled through the chamber. Military action against a developing species violated the Council's most fundamental principles, but fear was beginning to override traditional diplomatic protocols. Dr. Bennett requested permission to speak, and Elder Voxthrin reluctantly granted. She walked to the central platform, feeling the weight of hundreds of alien eyes upon her. Respected delegates, I understand your concerns about humanity's rapid development, but I believe your fears are misplaced, she began, her voice steady despite the hostile environment. Our recent achievements demonstrate not a threat to galactic stability, but an opportunity for unprecedented advancement. She activated her presentation device, and holographic displays showed the latest human innovations. Our colonies have developed medical technologies that could extend the lifespan of any species to 200 years or more. Our neural interface systems allow instantaneous learning and skill transfer. Our genetic therapies have eliminated hereditary diseases that have plagued civilizations for millennia. The chamber grew quiet as delegates studied the displayed technologies. Many of these innovations addressed problems that their own species had struggled with for thousands of years. Furthermore, Dr. Bennett continued, we have discovered that our rapid adaptation appears to be linked to previously unknown genetic sequences in human DNA. These adaptive mechanisms activate under environmental pressure, allowing real-time evolution. This discovery could potentially benefit all galactic species. Elder Quartzum of the ancient Crystari civilization had remained silent throughout the debate, but now the silicon-based being slowly rose to speak. His species was among the oldest in the galaxy, and his words carried the weight of eons. Fellow council members, I have observed this phenomenon before, he said, his voice resonating like distant thunder. Billions of years ago, my own species experienced a period of rapid evolutionary advancement similar to what we observe in humans. It was not a curse, but a blessing that elevated us beyond our previous limitations. His crystalline features shifted as ancient memories surfaced. The fear and suspicion we feel toward human advancement mirrors the reactions of other species when the Crystari began our own rapid development. Yet that advancement brought benefits to all galactic civilization, not destruction. General Thexmore hissed in disagreement. Elder Quartzum, with respect, your species achieved stability after your advancement period. Humans show no signs of slowing their development. Their ambitions appear unlimited. As if summoned by his words, a new report arrived from the outer galaxy monitoring stations. The news it contained sent shockwaves through the assembled delegates. Observer, Zendara, monitoring human activities from a deep space station, delivered her report with barely contained amazement. Council members, human exploration vessels have just launched missions to previously impossible destinations. They are attempting to establish colonies within the corona of stars, near black hole event horizons, and in regions of space that we had deemed uninhabitable by any known form of life. The chamber erupted in chaos. Delegates shouted in their native languages while translation systems struggled to keep pace with the overlapping conversations. Dr. Bennett felt her heart racing as she heard this news for the first time along with the council delegates. She had known that human ambition was driving new exploration efforts, but these destinations seemed impossible even by human standards. Elder Voxthran called for order, but the debate continued at fever pitch. Some delegates demanded immediate intervention to stop human expansion, while others argued for continued observation. The situation reached a crisis point when Dr. Bennett received an urgent communication from Earth. Dr. Patricia Allen, leading humanity's newest research project, had made a discovery that would reshape their understanding of reality itself. Council members, Dr. Bennett announced, her voice cutting through the chaos. I have just received word of humanity's latest scientific breakthrough. Our quantum physics research team has successfully opened stable portals to alternate dimensions. The chamber fell silent. Even the most advanced galactic civilizations had only theorized about interdimensional travel, considering it beyond the reach of physical science. Elder Voxthran's crystalline form dimmed almost to darkness. Dr. Bennett, are you suggesting that humans have achieved dimensional travel? Not just achieved it, Elder. They have begun colonization efforts in parallel realities where the laws of physics operate differently than in our own dimension. Ambassador Veltari's wings stopped fluttering entirely as she processed this information. This changes everything. If humans can access alternate realities, they could potentially become more powerful than all council species combined. General Thexmore stood abruptly, his massive form radiating hostility. This confirms my worst fears. Humans have progressed beyond our ability to control or contain them. We must act now before they become completely beyond our reach. But Elder, Quartzum raised one crystalline appendage, calling for calm consideration. General, perhaps we should ask ourselves a different question. Instead of fearing human advancement, should we not consider what we might learn from their methods? The debate that followed would continue for days, but the fundamental question was clear. Humanity had evolved beyond the Council's initial expectations and showed no signs of slowing their development. Their achievements challenged not only the established order of galactic civilization, but the basic assumptions about what was possible for biological species. Dr. Bennett found herself at the center of a cosmic storm, representing a species that had gone from primitive spaceflight to dimensional travel in less than a decade. The fear and wonder in the council chamber reflected a galaxy-wide realization that humanity represented something entirely new in cosmic history. As the session concluded without resolution, delegates filed out in small groups, speaking in hushed tones about the implications of human advancement. Some plotted restriction and containment, while others began to consider the possibility that humanity might hold the key to their own species' next evolutionary leap. Elder Voxthrin remained in the chamber long after the others had departed, his crystalline form pulsing slowly as he contemplated a future that had become impossible to predict. The galaxy stood at a crossroads, and humanity's next move would determine whether their rapid advancement led to cosmic enlightenment or chaos. The quantum research station Beyond's Edge floated in the void between galaxies, its massive arrays of exotic equipment constantly monitoring dimensional boundaries that most species could not even detect. Dr. Patricia Allen stood in the central observation deck, watching her 10-year-old daughter Lucy demonstrate abilities that challenged every known law of physics. "Mom, I can hear the thoughts of the colonists on Kepler Prime," Lucy said casually, her young voice carrying across the observation deck. "They're having trouble with their atmospheric processors, but Jake Rivera thinks he can fix it with parts from the old mining station." Patricia felt a mixture of pride and concern as she watched her daughter. Lucy was among the first generation of humans born in the quantum research facilities, and the children here were developing capabilities that seemed impossible even by rapidly advancing human standards. "Lucy, Kepler Prime is 14 light-years away," Patricia said gently. "How can you possibly know what they're thinking?" The young girl shrugged as if the question made little sense. "Distance doesn't matter in the quantum layer, Mom. All conscious minds are connected there. I can talk to anyone anywhere if I know how to reach through the dimensional barriers." Dr. Allen's research team had been studying these developments for months, documenting abilities that appeared to be emerging naturally in children born within quantum field environments. The implications were staggering and terrifying in equal measure. Admiral Rex Stone received the latest reports aboard his flagship, the newly constructed Earth defense vessel Horizon's Gate. The massive ship represented humanity's most advanced technology, incorporating discoveries from all their successful colonies into a single vessel capable of traveling between dimensions. "Admiral, we're receiving communications from the Galactic Council," reported Communications Officer Danny Park. "They're demanding immediate explanations about our dimensional research activities." Rex studied the transmission with growing concern. The Council's tone had shifted from diplomatic curiosity to barely concealed hostility over the past several months. Reports of human children with telepathic abilities had apparently pushed their fear beyond the breaking point. Meanwhile, on the Council station, Emergency Session Gamma 7 convened with unprecedented security measures. The Mentarch Collective, whose psychic abilities had given them special status for millennia, demanded immediate action against humanity's developing telepathic capabilities. "These human children possess mental abilities that exceed our own trained psychics," declared Mentarch Prime Zolothian, his large brain pulsing with agitated thought patterns. "Our monopoly on mental communication has maintained galactic stability. For 10,000 years, human telepathic development threatens this balance." Elder Voxthrin's crystalline form had grown darker over recent months, reflecting his troubled state of mind. "The situation has progressed beyond our initial concerns. Human advancement is no longer following any predictable pattern. General," Thexmore slammed his massive fist against his platform. "Honored Elder, we have reached the point where diplomatic solutions are insufficient. The human fleet now possesses dimensional travel capabilities. Their colonies span multiple realities. Their children display powers that challenge our most advanced species. We must act decisively before they become completely beyond our influence." But before the Council could reach any decision, Dr. Patricia Allen made a discovery that would change everything. Deep within the quantum research data, she found signals that had been hidden in the background noise of reality itself. "Admiral Stone, you need to see this immediately," Patricia transmitted to the Horizon's gate. "We've made contact with something extraordinary." The signals were complex patterns of energy that existed in the spaces between dimensions. After weeks of analysis, Patricia's team realized they were looking at communications from the legendary, precursor civilization that had vanished millions of years ago. "They didn't disappear," Patricia explained during an emergency briefing with Earth's leadership. "They evolved beyond physical existence into pure energy beings. The precursors have been waiting in the quantum dimensions for a species capable of joining them." The revelation sent shockwaves through both human and galactic communities. The BI precursors had been the most advanced civilization in galactic history. Their technology so far beyond current understanding that their ruins were still studied by archaeological teams across the galaxy. Lucy Allen, along with other telepathic, human children, became the primary communicators with these energy beings. Their natural quantum layer abilities allowed them to establish stable contact with the precursors for the first time in eons. "They say rapid evolution is natural for truly advanced species," Lucy reported after one of her communications sessions. "The species in the Galactic Council stopped growing millions of years ago. They chose safety and stability over development. The precursors revealed that biological evolution was only the first stage of true advancement. Physical beings who continued to grow and adapt would eventually transcend material existence entirely, gaining access to realities beyond current imagination." This revelation created panic in the Galactic Council. The idea that their ancient civilizations represented evolutionary dead ends challenged their fundamental understanding of progress and development. "The precursors are offering humanity a choice," Dr. Bennett reported to the Council during what would become their final diplomatic session. "We can remain in physical form as guardians of younger species, or we can begin the transition to energy-based existence and explore dimensions beyond this reality." Elder Voxthran's crystalline form pulsed with desperate light. "Dr. Bennett, what of the other galactic species? Are we to be abandoned as evolutionary failures?" Lisa smiled gently, recognizing the fear behind the question. "Elder, the precursors, have made it clear that any species can begin this evolutionary path. Human rapid development is not unique. It's simply what happens when a civilization chooses growth over stagnation. The revelation changed everything. Several younger species immediately requested human assistance in accelerating their own development. The rigid hierarchy of galactic civilization began to crumble as new possibilities emerged. Captain Jake Martinez, now enhanced by decades of human medical advances, but still retaining his essential humanity, stood before a transformed council chamber as humanity prepared to make their cosmic decision. "Honored members of the Galactic Council, humanity thanks you for the challenges that helped us discover our true potential," he said, his voice carrying across the chamber, where delegates from hundreds of species now listened with hope, rather than fear. "We choose to remain in physical form for now, serving as guides for other species who wish to begin their own evolutionary advancement. But we also choose to keep growing, to keep pushing the boundaries of what is possible." The first precursor energy being to manifest in physical space for millions of years appeared in the council chamber as a gentle light that seemed to encompass infinite possibilities. "The galaxy stands at a threshold," the being communicated, through quantum fluctuations that Lucy Allen translated for the assembly. "Those who choose growth and adaptation will join us in realities beyond imagination. Those who prefer stability and safety may continue as they are. Both paths have value, but only one leads to true advancement." Within months, the Galactic Council transformed from a governing body maintaining ancient traditions into a cosmic university where species learned to break their own evolutionary barriers. Human colonies became teaching centers where other civilizations could study rapid adaptation techniques. Some humans did choose to ascend to energy form, becoming the first new precursors in cosmic history. These beings began exploring dimensions where matter and energy operated according to entirely different principles, sending back discoveries that revolutionized science itself. Dr. Patricia Allen remained in physical form to guide the transition, but her daughter Lucy was among the first to bridge both states of existence, able to exist as matter or energy as needed. The story that began with humanity's desperate attempt to prove their worthiness for galactic membership ended with their transformation into cosmic teachers and guides. New human colonies spread across multiple galaxies and realities, each one pushing the boundaries of possibility while helping other species discover their own potential for growth. Elder Voxthran, inspired by human example, began his own species' first evolutionary advancement in millions of years. His crystalline form started developing new capabilities as the Crystari rediscovered their capacity for change. Admiral Rex Stone commanded fleets that explored not just distant stars, but alternate realities where the laws of physics themselves could be rewritten. Human technology advanced beyond the need for traditional spacecraft as they learned to manipulate space and time directly. The galaxy had been transformed from a collection of static civilizations into a dynamic community of growing, evolving species. Humanity's greatest achievement was not their rapid advancement, but their demonstration that advancement itself was possible for everyone. As new dimensional portals opened to realities beyond current imagination, humanity stood ready to guide galactic civilization into a future where evolution never ended and possibilities remained infinite.